Hey all of you out there in Eorzea, welcome to She Heals, I Tank, your weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. Today is Friday, August 2nd, and this is episode 180 of the Shit Podcast. I'm your host, Vegan Pete, and always by my side is this wonderful and lovely co-host.
Got my compliment for the day, Avi Ayla here. How you guys doing?
Doubled up on it, baby. This is our first episode of the month, Avi, and you know what that means. We open up the community roundup segment to you, the community.
You know what's funny is you're like, you know what that means? And I was like, nope. What does that mean? I don't remember.
We open it up to you, the community. So if you've got a Final Fantasy project you're working on, or if you want to plug a creator you really enjoy,
or something new you found,
be sure to join our Discord and call in during the Community Roundup section. And thank you for that sub, CG Lazarus, for 9 months.
That's awesome. Thank you, sweetheart.
So good to be here tonight. I've had a rough week, so I love that I'm spending it with you all. I think we have a great show for you. Thank you to all of you joining us here live at twitch.tv/SheHealsITank. You all showed us so much love. We got subs this week from I Am Carlini, 4 months, Aja 30, 19 months, Oakenhops, 19 months, Hyper Pixie Gaming, 10 months, Ooze Goose, 4 months, Broly 489 for 9 months, Awesome Austin, 3 months, Midnight N713 for 9 months, The Earth Rocker, 3 months, Draconomicon, 3 months.
That was better.
Voxna 7, 3 months, Wa Mizuchi, 2 months, Firefly Pendant, a tier 2 sub, and their 4th month of subbing, Misplays for 3 months, and 4 new time subs this week from Trunk X RDM.
Trunks Red Mage.
Trunks Red Mage, okay.
So I read that.
Slightly Dizzy, Himakabi Herbs, and OG Snuggle.
I'm glad you got that one.
Really appreciate all those subs and that support. Every dollar from those go back into the show. If you are unable to sub but still want to show us some support, we'd love it if you told a friend about the show. Retweet whenever we post out an episode. That helps a ton. So on the docket for tonight, we will be continuing our spoiler cast of the MSQ. We left off after the first dungeon, Hellminster Switch, and we will be forging forward from there. We're still taking your calls on the MSQ as well. Call in, let us know what your favorite part of the MSQ was, or if you have a gripe with something, let us know what your problem was.
What's your problem?
Give us your overall rating of this here expansion. Savage hit this week. We'll talk about that quickly. And my experience so far in my 2 times in. We have all the latest Final Fantasy XIV news and discussion, but before we get into any of that, we have everyone's favorite segment,
Greenleaf Minute.
It's the Greenleaf Minute, and this week,
it's mine.
Avi's gonna be telling you about it.
Shut up.
I don't even know what it is. I'm excited.
This week, I have to admit, I use Hyper Pixie for her noobness sometimes with Final Fantasy XIV, because she's like, I don't understand this super simple thing that just doesn't make sense. And it's like, oh yeah, I don't even think to explain that because it's something that you've been playing so long, that's how it is. So this Greenleaf Minute is geared toward new players who are starting the game fresh, and they have the idea of playing a particular class in mind. Now, this can actually be a bit confusing if you aren't familiar with how the jobs and classes worked back in Realm Reborn, as well as which classes unlock with which expansion, because you need to know what level you're at, what main scenario quests you have to do. Like, they've got classes even locked behind levels. You gotta earn that shit or spend money on it.
So this is like for someone who just bought the game, maybe because they heard Gunbreaker was being added to Shadowbringers.
Or in Pixie's case, she's like, I really want to level Dragoon. And then somebody sent her a message and they were like, no, you have to play Lancer first. And she's like, what the fuck? I gotta level another class before I can level the class I want to level? That's bullshit. Like, she was mad. I was like, no, it's the same thing. You literally are leveling Lancer, and then at level 30, you get a job crystal. That's all it is. So that's the big thing. It's not a different class. I'm going to go over all of these to kind of break it all down. So it's the job crystals. The only thing that changes when you hit level 30 and you equip that. So you go from having a class to having a job, essentially, because you have like specialized job abilities that become available to you when you have that job crystal equipped. And the way you can tell that you have the job crystal equipped is that the actual job icon changes. So the class icons you don't really see so much, or the disciples. So those aren't really shared too often. You might just see those in the market board, or when you're super low level.
The really annoying thing is when you equip that job crystal, it's like having a brand new job.
It resets your hot bars.
All your hot bars go away.
That is definitely not fun. But so all the classes that you can start the game with, that's what I'm going to go over first. So all of these classes and associated jobs are Realm Reborn. So if you want to be a white mage, you got to start as a conjurer. If you want to start as a scholar or a summoner, you have to start as Arcanist. Honestly, that's a great way to start the game. Arcanist actually starts out as a DPS, but you're leveling a healer and a summoner at the same time.
Healer and a DPS.
Summoner's DPS. Healer and a DPS, so you can kind of play whichever role you'd like, which is kind of a really nice option that you get with Arcanist. Paladin, you start as a gladiator. Warrior starts as a marauder. I totally forgot that one. I could not remember that one for the life of me. Dragoon starts as a lancer. Monk as a pugilist. Ninja is a rogue. Black mage is a thaumaturge. And bard is an archer. So yeah, just be happy that you guys don't have to level another class to 15 and get that one to 30 to get your job crystal. They used to make it way worse.
And I will say, if anyone's like Googling old Realm Reborn stuff about jobs and classes and stuff, make sure it's an up-to-date one. If it's a really old one, you're going to get some of this old information that people might be confused about.
I think people should understand that, though, when they're looking stuff up with MMOs.
Chili mentioned in chat, when we first started playing, you used to have to level, I believe it was Gladiator to 30 and then Conjurer to 15 to become a Paladin.
I appreciate that you were just not listening to me.
You didn't say that.
I said you have to level another class to 15 to get your job crystal at 30.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I did say that. It's cool. It's recorded. I got the proof.
You don't got shit.
I know that
my computer.
That sounds like a lot, and honestly, this whole system is still really clunky, but it made sense back in the day for the way that they want us to level. And just remember, your job is all about equipping that job crystal once you get to level 30. That's super important. I had a point that I was just going to make, and I lost it because I got interrupted. It wasn't in text, so now I'm sorry. Okay, so...
Good stuff, Avi.
I'm super annoyed right now. Like, I actually had a point that I was like, oh, I need to make sure to say that, and I thought I'd written it down, and now my brain just goes... Bleh. All right, so now you've done a Realm Reborn, you've leveled a character up, and now you want to unlock some other classes. Well, so if you want to unlock Dark Knight, Astrologian, and Machinist, what you have to do is you have to get to level 50 on one job has to be level 50, and you have to finish the A Realm Reborn main scenario quest. Or you can get your character to 50 and get a Realm Reborn story skip, or you can get a level jump to 50 for your character and an MSQ story skip, or like whatever combination of those you do will get you to Heavensward. There's a lot of options. They like your money. Anyways, once you're able to unlock these jobs, they don't make you start all the way back at level 1. They actually start at level 30. And you don't ever have to worry about that whole class job thing again, because these jobs give you that crystal right away. You immediately equip it. You immediately get your abilities. You are good to go. In Stormblood, you get to unlock Red Mage and Samurai. The process to unlock them is very similar, but instead now you have to finish Heavensward's main scenario quest and have a level 60 job. So all the similar Mogstaion cash skips and jumps apply for this scenario. Just make sure that if you are going this route, to include the Heavensward main scenario skip and level 60. However, Red Mage and Samurai do not start at level 1 or even level 30. You get to start these bad boys at level 50 with your job crystal. And finally, the new jobs in Shadowbringers. Now you get to unlock Dancer and Gunbreaker. These classes unlock with the completion of the Stormblood main scenario quest and a level 70 job. These classes don't start at level 1, they don't start at level 30, and they don't start at level 50. These motherfuckers start you at level 60. That's a lot. So I honestly wouldn't recommend skipping everything to get to Shadowbringers. I mean, yes, Shadowbringers is incredible, but so are most of the other main scenario quests that you go through, and others, well, they have, moments that aren't pretty good. But if you're getting overwhelmed, like Pixie was someone who was doing A Realm Reborn, and she just got so overwhelmed and felt so behind with the amount of time she had to play. She did do a story skip through a Realm Reborn. I refuse to let her skip Heavensward because it's just glorious. But
the main part of each expansion is good, like 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. It's the patches that they run into problems with. And I've said that before. Like 2.1 through 2.4 can be really bad. 2.5 redeemed itself a bit, but it is a fucking slog to get through.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't blame anyone for skipping that, even if it's your first time around. I think in 5.1 we're getting New Game Plus, so technically you'd be able to run through all of that again if you would like to without having to do a whole new
I wouldn't mind doing that on my character.
Actually,
when I have time.
Since we've been doing this recap, I've been wishing that it was available to us.
Makes sense.
Because I'm like, I kind of remember this, but not 100%. I wish I could go back and play it.
So I really hope, and I was actually with that Greenleaf, I was thinking about a lot of the WoW refugees, because when you're coming over from a different game, you have like a totally different mindset, and it's kind of confusing with 14 because of how things are gated behind other content and levels and stuff. So I just wanted to help all you guys out and hopefully shine some clarifying light on that for you.
I was actually talking about something related to this in the Greenleaf section of our Discord this week with some people using jump potions, and some people were complaining about some tanks not knowing exactly what they should be doing in dungeons.
Right.
And someone asked, it'd be nice if the game kind of explained it to you. And I realized that if you do a jump potion and go straight to Gunbreaker or Dark Knight, whatever, you totally miss the Hall of the Novice. You don't get introduced to that. Oh,
yeah, and that's really big. Sorry for Twitch if you see me jumping back and forth. My cat likes to sleep on my computer, which is very bad for it. Blocks all the airflow, so I have to keep trying to get him off of it.
Now we'll move on to Avi's favorite segment. It's the tweet of the week. It's the tweet of the week. And this week it comes from Broly489, who says, I want to give a shout out to She Heals My Tanks for selecting Rady Children's Hospital to support for the Extra Life campaign. Receiving this in the mail was heartwarming. I'm glad I could contribute to making a difference, even if Avi had to drink pickle juice and do MSQ roulette.
A damn MSQ roulette.
And he had posted a picture of a handwritten note from Rady Children's Hospital, which was really nice.
That's really wonderful. Yeah, the pickle juice wasn't even the worst part. It was the eating of the ketchup. I hate ketchup so much. So much. Like, everyone's like, it's not even fun anymore. She just looks so miserable.
And the chat is demanding it, so I'm going to play it.
That wasn't a demand. That was literally they're typing it because they're excited.
I took it as a demand.
You're a douche.
I need to make a different one for, like, introing it and then outroing it.
How will it differ?
The outro will go, that was the tweet of the week.
Oh my. Okay.
Now it's time for news and notes from around the realm. Patch 5.05 hit on Tuesday. I was most excited for the introduction of the Savage Raids, but there were also some job changes as well that I'm sure many of you were the most excited for.
Scholar!
So let's get to some of those. We have to lead with Scholar.
Scholar.
Avi's previous main that she has built a throne of salt over.
It's tasty.
Since the release of Shadowbringers. Avi, the biggest thing that you bitched about was the removal of energy drain.
I don't appreciate the word bitch in this scenario. I was giving constructive criticism, obviously, because they brought back energy drain.
Well, this is what your concern, your bitching, is what I heard from many scholars.
Because we're right. We're fucking scholars.
You all can stop complaining because as of Tuesday with patch 5.05.
Why are you talking about this? Why don't I get to talk about this?
I'm just introing it.
This is a long-ass intro.
It deserves it with the amount of salt you spilled. Energy drain is back. And when I woke your ass up at midnight to tell you, you didn't seem excited at all.
I knew it was coming back. I knew I was right. I'm like, yeah.
You should have been dancing when I woke you up.
I was like, that's right, motherfuckers. No. You realize that scholars do not play well without energy drain.
You barely moved when I woke you up.
I was out. I was like, okay.
You all think it's a joke. I woke her ass up.
You woke me up at midnight. I was like, I've been sleeping for 2.5 hours, dude. All right, I get up really early. So yeah. Energy drain, the reason it's so wonderful that it's back is because you're not sitting there on stacks. Your aether flow as a scholar should be constantly moving through cooldown as often as you can, and just having it for heals only was really frustrating. So I do find that you don't really need it so much for the I don't even care about the MP regen or the damage dealing ability that it does, but like the fact that I can keep that ether flow cooldown going. The one thing I do miss, which this is just me being nitpicky, is I miss the and I don't know if I get it later. I'm just about to hit level 73. I like how it used to have the opportunity to kind of jump your cooldown on your ether flow. I haven't seen it do that yet, and I love that if that comes back, because it kind of encourages you to keep using it. It was really a fun thing. Chat saying it doesn't. So okay, that was the only thing I was really hoping for, but that's not like a deal breaker. The class plays like an upgraded scholar now, like an adjusted scholar.
You played it last night or Tuesday, I forget when, but you played it. You played it after the changes had come out, and you were happier. Still not. Well, what was wonderful is enthused with it.
I actually no, I wasn't enthused with you. What's funny is, what's the name of the dungeon we did first? I never remember the name of that one.
I don't know. It's a Stormblood one. It's like level 65 where it actually gets kind of hard.
And so what's funny to me is the dungeon that I got, it's the raw one, right? With the bird at the end. Isn't that the one? I don't know. It's one where you have the puzzle in the middle where you got to do the movements. You guys are, I'm sure, killing it. Bardam's Metal. I think that's right, Chili.
Javier.
So when Shadowbringers launched, I did a roulette on my scholar, and I was like, all right, let's see how this goes. And it was Bardam's Metal, and I was like, oh fuck. And so I told the group, hey guys, I'm healing for the first time, and they were really cool to me. They still did good sized pulls, but they were really cool. They even complimented that I did a decent job. But then, since the changes were made, I was like, I want to play Scholar. I want to see how this is done, since I wasn't having fun before. And we got the exact same dungeon. So I had a 1-for-1 comparison, which was really cool, except for the fact that I had a tank who made me feel bad for saying, can you please wait to pull the next group until my ether flow stacks are back? And he pulled it, and then we died because I had no shit buttons. And he also happened to have no cooldowns.
I'm making content, baby.
Trigger happy in you. It made me say that. Thank you for subscribing. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So yeah, we were gonna do when we did our Wednesday duel stream, Pete was like, you want to learn how to do the extreme fights? I'm like, no, I want to play some motherfucking Scholar. Like, you can't make me do anything else but see what this class is like. And I also feel like anybody who joins us and watches want to see that as well because of my salt.
They want to see me push you to the max.
He was a dick, Ace. He was a real dick. And it wasn't even just like the way he pulled and was a dick about it. Then he was like just making smart asshole comments the entire time. Like, I feel like he just wanted to keep me angry and see how hard he could get me to curse.
Watch the vid on Twitch. You're over exaggerating.
I think you need to watch the video on Twitch.
We'll take your best clip. We'll put it on Twitter. Let people vote. What's next for Scholar, Avi?
Art of War, which is great. They increased the potency from 150 to 160. I was honestly hoping that they would lower the MP cost rather than increase the potency, because it's a really expensive spell that 10 points, really, holy is so much better. Like, you get a stun and it costs less. And yeah, just Art of War I'm not a super huge fan of. They also changed Broil Mastery, which now the effect of it has been changed from increase the potency of Ruin 2 to 160 to increase the potency of Ruin 2 and Art of War to 160, which is just the way they could tie that in.
But they just changed Art of War to 160 anyways.
Yeah, but literally you get that increase when you get Broil Mastery.
Oh.
It's a passive ability.
That's bullshit.
Right. So it just literally ties it in together. It's an easier way for them to increase the potency. And then Sucker has had its cast time reduced from 2.5 seconds to 2 seconds. I actually think that's a pretty great change. All right, Pete. Now we can go into your class,
now
Monk.
We'll move on.
So Pete tends to play this class where he likes to punch things a lot and then run around the sides of them. And I want to give this really long introduction while he's waiting to talk about it and not let him talk about it like he did with Scholar for me. So, they've got all those fun forums for monks, and I know people really enjoy playing monk, and it's really viable for...
I was painting a fucking picture with my words, bitch. I use Salt Throne.
I'm just spitting shit out.
Some nice changes for Monk, Avi.
Mm-hmm.
Oppo, Raptor, and Corel form all had the duration... Corel.
Where's the R? Where is the R?
Steve Corel.
Where is the R?
Forms all had their duration increased from 10 to 15 seconds. Mantra had its radius increased from 7 to 15 yalms, so that will help out with some healing. With form shift, the Corel form bonus... extends Grease Lightning duration to maximum, which is really nice, actually. So when you're form shifting, it will extend Grease Lightning as well. For meditation, the additional effect opens all 5 chakra when used outside of combat has been added. So I used to have to hit that button 5 times to get it available.
Oh my god, 5 times?
Now I just have to hit it once.
No, 5? Really?
Yup.
I am so sorry for you.
Don't be fucking jealous just because monk changes are better than fucking scholar changes. Riddle of Earth. When you use Riddle of Earth, Earth's reply bonus now nullifies all action direction requirements, so you don't gotta move around to hit it in the butt. When you use Riddle of Fire, the effect increases weapon skill recast time by 15% has been removed, but in response to that, damage increased was reduced from 30% to 25%, but I think that is worth it. Forbidden Chakra can only be executed while in combat now, and Enlightenment can only as well be executed while in combat.
They've changed a lot of abilities to only in combat. The Forbidden Chakra is like the one for Dancer that allows you to build it, but again, it's only in breaks during combat, which I think it's cool that they give you something to do like kind of in breaks in combat. Well, it's like you can do it outside of it, but it doesn't benefit you unless you're in combat. So Pete, did Monk need all these changes?
I am loving the corral puns in
Oh
chat right
yeah,
now.
no, they're wonderful.
Yeah, Monk, these changes are all really good for Monk, and I think they were needed. And some are just quality of life, like not having to press a button 5 times.
5 whole times. I mean, that sounds like hell.
That's like as many buttons as a scholar presses a whole dungeon now. Bunch of ninjas upset with the only change being made for them this patch is that Gust Slash had its combo potency increased from 250 to 300.
Wait, they're upset that it was increased?
They're upset because they feel they have way bigger problems than just one potency.
That's fair.
Change.
I was going to say, like, that's a good thing, right? But no, that's totally fair. So, but unlike ninjas, samurais, I talk words.
Oh, just wait until you get to these fucking names.
Yeah, that's why I'm usually one who does these ones for you. The samurais actually got some good changes. Remember, I did the whole overview of the samurai going into this. That was fun. Meikyo Shisui had its recast timer reduced from 60 to 55 seconds. Meditate's effect duration increased from 30 to 45 seconds. Tsubame, Geishi, Keishi, Higabana, Keishi Goken, and Keishi Setsugeka cast times have all made instant. I hope you guys don't hate me so much for butchering all of that.
Nailed it.
The potency of Shoha has been changed from 50, 100, 200, 300, 500 to 100, 300, 400, 454, 500. Yeah.
You started to go chili speed.
The Hakagure has been added as well to the round out the samurai. I actually grew up watching, I'm old. I grew up watching Blossom, and Six on that talked really fast, and I always tried to impersonate her.
What the fuck is Blossom?
Shut up.
No one cares.
You know what Blossom is? It's the chick from freaking Big Bang Theory.
Machinist only had one change.
You're just so mean.
The recast timer for reassemble has been reduced from 60 to 55 seconds.
I dislike you. Summoners had their recast timers for summons reduced from 10 seconds to 3. That's a big change. And the delay before the detrimental status is applied has been reduced on Bio, Bio 2, Bio 3, and Tri-Disaster. Honestly, having your summon timer reduced is wonderful because it's almost like the time it takes to slow res somebody before. Like if you're, which, they don't die anymore, but at least summoners need to be able to change out their pets as needed. So I think it's wonderful.
It's like they got an adjustment to match their usefulness. Like they used to be really useful, now they're not, so they don't make you wait as long.
Okay, they're just glamours.
Red Mage had the MP cost reduced by 100 for Jolt, Ver Thunder, Ver Arrow, Ver Fire, Ver Stone, Jolt 2, Ver Flare, Ver Holy, and Scorch.
Wow, that's it. That's big.
And Enchanted Reprise had a potency increase from 220 to 250, and the mana requirements changed from 10 black mana and 10 white mana to 5 black and 5 white.
Nice. I can't wait. Like, I'm focusing on leveling my Scholar now, but I do have fun with Red Mage. I actually do think I prefer Black Mage, but I like the utility that Red Mage brings to a party. So those are definitely classes I can't wait to check out. Astrologian, on the other hand, is the last job to get some adjustments this patch. Are people happy with the changes? I haven't been able to hear. I haven't heard much about it from the Astros.
I know KK still is playing Astrologian for Savage. I haven't seen him complain about it anyways. That's all I can say.
I guess because I haven't heard anything means that people must be relatively happy with the changes. They had a long list. So gravity's potency has been increased from 130 to 140, and the cast time has been reduced from 2.5 to 1.5 seconds. That's a big drop, like a whole second off. That's a lot. Helios cast time has been reduced from 2.5 to 2 seconds. Aspected Helios cast time has been reduced from 2.5 to 2 seconds, and the healing potency has been increased from 100 to 200, and barrier damage nullification has been reduced from 250 to 125. So they increase the heal, lower the shields.
Seems like that big of a difference. Like, that's why you guys need a test server, because you guys can't even get close doing this on your own.
Don't go into the rant now. Lightspeed recast time has been reduced from 120 seconds to 90 seconds. Also amazing. Hyper Lightspeed now reduces Lightspeed recast to 90 seconds. Celestial Opposition recast timer has been cut in half from 120 to 60 seconds. Healing potency has been doubled from 1 to 200. Barriers damage nullification has been reduced from 150% to 125%. Regen potency increased for 60 to 100. And the effect radius has been increased from 10 to 15 yalms. That's a lot for Celestial Opposition, which is your big awesomeness, but I get it. All right, horoscope. Healing potency doubles from 100 to 200, and the horoscope Helios effect duration has increased from 20 to 30 seconds. Divination recast time has been reduced from 180 to 120 seconds, and the damage increase effect has been changed from 2, 4, and 6% to 4, 5, and 6%. Sleeve draw now draws a card, Arcanum, from your Divining deck and grants 2 stacks of Sleeve Draw, duration for 30 seconds. The Sleeve Draw effect using your Drawn Arcanum consumes a stack of Sleeve Draw and draws another card.
Please tell me that Sleeve Draw is something new in...
That's a KK question because I never played a lot of
because I've leveled Astro to 70 and I do not know horoscope or Sleeve Draw.
Sorry, babe. You've played more Astro than I have.
Love Truck 17 is now following. I believe that is my brother-in-law.
Oh, that's super adorable, Love Truck. All right, so and finally, for all the dryness, Celestial Intersection healing potency has been increased from 150 to 200. Barrier damage nullification reduced from 250 to 200%, and regen potency increased from 80 to 150. Next time I'm going to read these at the speed of Chili does because this is fucking boring, but
KK
it's important.
says, not new. I'm just bad at astrology.
That's valid.
Moving on from job changes, there is a new instance for you treasure hunters out there. The new instance is called the Dungeons of Liegae. Nailed it. They say it's similar to the Aquapolis and the Lost Canals of Uznair. I haven't been into it yet, so I can't really comment to say for sure what it's like. You'll get a chance to access it by completing a Zoner Skin treasure map and looking for that portal at the end of them, just like the other kind of maps.
I'm sorry, okay.
You guys haven't noticed I'm the best at pronouncing words.
So good, and accents. So for the free company, they've added new craftable items to the company workshop, and I've also made changes to the subaquatic voyages. So now the submersible parts are available for exchange, the new ones, new destinations, the maximum level has been increased from 50 to 60, and a wider selection of items can be obtained from the voyages.
The new furnishings have been added, and Orchestrion roles have been added to housing. New mounts have been added, namely a gigantic bed for you to ride around in while you sleep. Seems sort of like an extreme version of the self-driving cars. And of course that would be awesome because you can ERP in the air now.
Well, is it a two-person mount? I think it's only a single person. So
you just you scoot those beds right next to each other like the olden days, baby.
Love Truck, thank you so much for subscribing. We appreciate it so much.
Sub.
Now let's see how long you can keep it up if you're Pete's my brother-in-law. He's like, I don't know what the words.
You just said, how long can you keep it up?
I did. So there's also been some new minions added to the game, and they previewed a pretty freaking adorable frog prince that looks incredibly like one of the guys featured in the battle in the Don Meg. Tome gear has been previewed. Looks like something I'll be glamoring over. pretty much entirely.
Yeah, super unimpressed by the new tome gear, but I do like some of the new Savage gear.
It's nice. There's no slutty bits, It's like, this is just gear. Cool. But, yeah.
And oh my god, a new summoning bell has been added to the Crystarium. Thank goodness.
It was so...
That's more of a you thing. I had no problem with only one in there.
It wasn't bad. I mean, you just hit... Is it V to hide everybody or X to hide everybody's names? Oh, you have them all hidden.
I never have everyone's name up.
It's the names that make it hard to get to it. But it is kind of silly to have something that you've got 30 people at once accessing at the same time that isn't as big as a market board. So it makes sense. I thought this was a really great quality of life thing to do.
If people's problem was there's too many people around them and it was causing lag, I can get behind that.
Potentially.
I thought people were complaining because they had to like run too far to it.
No, it's literally there's so many people there. And then
I do agree with KK. He says there needs to be one near the crystalline mean, which is where all the crafting shit goes down.
Oh, I wonder if that's where they put it. I didn't see actually where it was put, but I'm assuming not since he just made that comment.
And I guess the last note that we didn't really put in there is Savage was added. I will say I've only been in 2 times. I got to Enrage last night. It's been a ton of fun, and I'm going to go into this a lot more in subsequent episodes. But as of my initial reaction to Eden 1 Savage, I'm loving it. I don't think it's too hard of a fight, but it is challenging, and you're going to have to... You're going to have to die a lot.
How did you get from Summoning Bell to Savage?
That was the last thing of the patch.
Oh, okay. It's just not in my notes. Got it. How about Pete, you read this next section because I don't think you'll want to read the next one.
The Square Enix store has just released a new promotion. Instead of giving us a free Fantasia with Shadowbringers, they are offering a free Fantasia with a 60-day game card, which will cost you $30. Those Fantasias run $10 each, so this is a pretty awesome deal. Well, you say pretty awesome. I say it's an okay deal. You will have to purchase and download the game from the Square Enix website, which will be
not the game, the game time.
And game time from the Square Enix website, which will be shared in the show notes and Twitch chat. I do think this makes up for not receiving a Fantasia with the most recent expansion. I mean, it's not like you aren't going to pay for your monthly subscription anyways. The only thing is, this does have a time limit. You have to make this purchase between August 1st and 31st, 2019, and unfortunately, it's only available for the North American accounts.
Oh, actually, that was just a link I was at. As I clicked this, they've got a link for EU and a link for GB, so that
will be available everywhere.
It's everywhere for once. They did a good job. So that's the North American
link.
Except
for probably Quebec, because as we always say, fuck Quebec.
All right.
They're never included in any of the promotions.
So it's just one vial of Fantasia, trigger happy, but it's $10. So you're paying $30 for 2 months of, 2 months of subscription, but then $10 of that goes to the Fantasia essentially. So it's awesome.
Well, I think if you actually have the basic subscription, it's only like $12.99 a month. Like one character.
Yeah, so it's a little bit more.
So it's not like the best deal in the world.
I'd say it's the best deal in the world, but I mean, to me, associating something like this with game time makes sense because I'm gonna pay for game time no matter what. Like that's when the Black Chocobo deal was going on with Amazon, I bought a game time card and I wasn't even able to load it up yet, but I put like a reminder on my calendar for when I would be able to load it to make sure I do it. And because it's something I'll pay for. So it makes sense to me to I'd rather giveaways be tied to things like game time than, buy a game on Amazon. Like, I'm not going to buy a game. I don't have time to play another game. Give me game time for the game I play. That's what I want. So, yeah. All right. Continue, Pete.
Also, another side note, changing to RRA requires the registration of Heaven's Ward, and on that same note, changing to Viera or Rothgar requires the registration of Shadowbringers. So if you don't have all of those expansions enabled, you're only going to be able to Fantasia to one of the basic bitch races.
You're a basic bitch.
Damn straight.
Okay. I'm like, I had to throw that out. I'm like, all right. So we also got some new Mogstaion items announced, which is pretty cool that they've got the Far Eastern Officer's uniform for $18. This is a gender-locked item for male characters only. It includes the Far Eastern Officer's hat, robe, armband, bottoms, and boots. It looks a lot like a trench coat over some kind of high-water pants with a fedora and some pretty slick lace-up boots.
Does it come with the "my lady" emote?
No. It dyes incredibly well, and the undershirt under the coat remains white. We are also going to be getting, or we have available now, the Far Eastern Maidens attire for $18. This is also gender locked, but for female characters only, and this includes the Far Eastern Maiden's hat, tunic, armband, bottoms, and boots. The top is cute, but in my opinion, the shorts with the tights and the heeled boots with the cute little flower color on the heel are really the best pieces of this ensemble as a whole. It is, as well, of course, all dyeable. However, unfortunately for both of these sets, the new races, the Viera and the Hrothgar, are unable to wear the headpieces. But otherwise, this set is almost worth it just for the boots. Almost. $18 is a lot for a pair of boots. And finally, the 2018 Moonfire Faire items have been added to the Mogstaion, which includes the Endless Summer attire. Get yourself them damn sunglasses.
Oh man, people are gonna have my sunglasses now.
Yeah, everyone has your sunglasses anyways.
I never see them.
And it's only $5. Honestly, if you don't have the Endless Summer attire, $5 is fully worth it. That to me is like, yes, that's the best bathing suit in game. You get the sunglasses, you get shoes, it's all dyeable. It's a cute little ruffly top for the girls. It's awesome. I love it.
If you weren't wearing sunglasses for this expansion, you are dumb.
I'm dumb. The fucking cat is on my computer again. The splash emote is available for $2, and the housing items are available for $5 each, and those include the authentic mosquito moogle, which looks like a really weird sex toy, and a plate of authentic curry. I'm gonna get the cat now.
It's almost time, Avi, for the seasonal event that always gives the best glamour gear. The Moonfire Faire starts on August 7th and runs until August 26th. The event boasts that Mayaru, fuck Lalas, the little Lala who starts the quest in Limsa Lominsa, can hardly contain, that's a guy's name, his excitement, except that he has the straightest face of all time.
He's like, I can't contain my excitement. Maybe this is actually Pete in his true Final Fantasy XIV form. You only get to see Pete's emotions really when it's frustrated energy, not so much happy excitement. He's kind of like super animated when something bothers him, but when he's excited, he's like, I head nod.
Anyway, what we really care about, Avi, are the rewards. The rewards are quite numerous for this event. They include 4 different headpieces, 3 of which are painted masks, 2 Moogle and 1 Namazu and 1 Hachimaki. And for all you non-weebs like myself, or maybe vegans who never eat sushi, that is a piece of rolled white fabric that is wrapped around your head like a sweatband. And yes, both the Viera and the Hrothgar can wear all of those headpieces. I was going to ask you about that. I was like, did they add all these headpieces and none of the new races are able to wear them?
Also, I think it's like the first seasonal event poster that does not have, has a lot of characters on it, and none of them are Mikote. It does have an up the butt shot on the Viera female, which I'm not a super fan of, but yeah, it's just nice to see a different race in there. Stop with the up the butt shots, Square Enix.
Ian Show says, is there vegan sushi? I didn't get that reference either, Avi.
I want to see, well, sushi chefs wear those a lot. I want to see the poster for the Moonfire Faire. If you guys see this one, I want to see that Hrothgar standing in the pose that the Viera is, and then put the Viera bunny girl over there. I want the butt shot of like, oh, look at my ass up my skirt kind of thing on the Hrothgar, not on a goddamn girl bunny, because they're fucking Amazon women. Stop over-sexualizing them.
I don't think it's over-sexualized.
It's looking up her goddamn skirt. No.
That's how forest bunnies dress.
I'm gonna cut you so hard. No, she is a badass warrior Amazon women where the men stay home and take care of the babies and like hide in their shit because they're not as awesome as the goddamn awesome Viera bunny chicks. Don't make them into like, the wind just cut my skirt perfectly. No, fuck that.
I've seen Wonder Woman. I've seen the Island of the Amazons.
Yeah, did you ever see Wonder Woman with an up the ass shot of her skirt? No. Only in your dreams.
Yes, I have.
Only in your dreams. Because they keep...
There's some websites where you can see.
But like,
up the skirt.
keep the integrity of the female characters. Come on, guys. Like, I get that a lot of guys play games, but more women are playing games. Like, honestly, the market is becoming dominated by female gamers. Give us some fucking sexy dudes. Stop, like, showing it. It's my butt. And, like,
Dude,
come on.
I see just as many female artists drawing characters like that. I think females like it too.
That's artists drawing something is different. This is Square Enix. This is a large corporation putting something out, and every time there's a female character in it, it's like, I don't like it. I want equality. I want to see the man.
Stop hating.
Like, I want to see the man turn and you see his butt first. Like, that's what I want to see, and then the woman just going, thumbs up.
No one wants to see male butt.
I want to see a male butt.
No, you don't.
I like, as long
They're
as it's
gross.
no. Like, I'm all about Thor's butt. I'm totally not Fat Thor.
Fat Thor?
No. I knew you were going there. I had to stop it. But there's some nice butts out there, and when you digitize and draw it, you can make it look as good as you want.
I apologize for the body shaming that Avi just partaked in.
Anyone, everyone's like Sexy Yuri on J, Godbird, anybody. Honestly, I've gone on this rant before because I am a fucking feminist, and feminist means equality, which means make the goddamn men look like slut and make the women look awesome every once in a while. Just every once in a while, please.
Vaginas, the leading cause of death in men.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, yeah, but that means you should, like, give us equality so that we stop killing your fucking dumbasses. I'm done.
Are you done? Are you sure?
Maybe.
I'll give you another 30 seconds if you want.
No, I'm good. I'm just sick of it. Sick of it.
Now we have what you guys would like to teach me, a little bit of lore.
Teaching me lore so they'll know some shit.
I was like, oh, that's me.
Once again, undefeated in the lore questions.
Not
You
even a little bit.
guys got to step up your game. I can't even remember the last time I got one wrong because I haven't got one wrong.
And if anyone's wondering about the questions that we have available or that we've already asked for the Teaching Pete lore segment, in our Discord channel, the Greenleaf Minute channel, we've pinned this document so you can go in and view what he's gotten right, what he's gotten wrong. And
Nothing wrong.
Oh, Chili's giving me a lala butt on stream. Thank you. It honestly,
He's giving you the man butt
honestly,
you
and the
wanted.
little view I got, it looks like I can kind of see the shape of his junk. Yeah, no, like that's like a legit lala junk kind of.
Lala's hung,
He's
baby.
got some bulge coming out. It makes me a little uncomfortable.
See? You're complaining already. You got the male butt you wanted, and
I don't want a lala butt. It's like looking at a child. No. All right. Okay, Pete. So
try to teach me some lore. Give me your best.
this is KK McLeod's submission. This is actually one of the easier ones he submitted.
Uh-oh.
The Void Ark 24-man raid series takes its inspiration from what real-world mythology? A. Norse, B. Roman, C. Anglo-Saxon, or D. Celtic?
I was going to say Christian. Like Noah's Ark.
Oh my god.
I'm like, were there animals on it?
I'm not a smart man.
All right. So the Void Ark. God, I don't remember what the fucking Void Ark
I'm
was
not
about.
lalophobic. I just don't find them sexy. I want
Right.
to pet them.
Read me the question and the answers quickly again.
Oh, so you can actually listen to me?
Quickly.
The Void Ark 24-man raid series takes its inspiration from what real-world mythology? A. Norse, B. Roman, C. Anglo-Saxon, or D. Celtic?
All right, we're going. This is just going to be a pure guess. Nothing to do with anything I know in game.
You tend to do best with those.
I feel like Square Enix likes to take from Norse mythology quite often. So I'm going to go final answer Norse. Is that the correct sound?
No.
Oh.
Celtic is the correct answer. Guys, saw it. Pete's first question he ever got wrong.
I don't know.
All right. So, Pete,
All right, so now it's time to continue talking about the MSQ. So obviously there are going to be spoilers.
Here, wait, Pete. So you don't want to keep doing your like giveaway Fantasia one, or is that just like once a month, or
That's
what do you
just like every once in a while.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't got that much money. So we left off after defeating the Light Warden in Holminster Switch, and upon absorbing all the light they gave off after being killed, night was returned to the sky.
Because we're fucking awesome.
And
And we're
just-
not really the warrior of darkness. We're like the warrior of light, absorbing the light. which helps the dark, but we're still the warrior of light.
And just a reminder that if you would like to call up to say something about the MSQ, you are more than welcome to. So, after we beat that Light Warden, we return to the Crystarium. People are happy about what happened, but they're also kind of freaked out.
The sky is dark.
They haven't seen a night. Well, pretty
100
much
years.
no one alive has ever seen a night sky.
Yep, it's
so
been
it's
100
all
years.
foreign to them. I think it would be a good place to talk about something that was new in this expansion, and that was having different environments for players depending on where they are in the story. I remember having just gotten to this point, and it was legit dark outside, and then you came into the room and was watching me play for a minute, and I was wondering if you were going to notice if it was dark. Because you had not gotten to this part yet, Avi.
I don't really look. I'm actually really good at not looking at your screen for the most part when you're ahead of me.
You were legit watching me play, though.
I don't remember this.
And I was like, she's dumb. She's probably not going to notice. And I don't think you did.
Wait, what? Ass?
Because then you logged on, and it was definitely very bright, even though it was dark on my screen. But again, you were unobservant and didn't notice. But I thought that was a pretty cool feature that came in Shadowbringers, bringing a little bit of uniqueness based on where you are in the story.
I really liked that, actually, because it was one point we were trying to set up the screenshot for when we do the podcast where we stand our characters. I'm like, stand here, it's really pretty. And I'm like, your shot's all dark. Why is your shot all dark? We're not even in a cutscene, but it's literally just the zone that he's in is a different environment than the zone that I'm in based on where he was in the storyline. I loved that. I thought it was wonderful. You don't see that. You haven't really seen that in 14.
Yeah, previously the only things I can think of are places like Mordana and Idleshire. That would change throughout the patch cycle, but it changed for everyone at the same time, like with the update of a patch.
Mm-hmm.
The evolving at different times should also continue with the restoration of Ishgard that we will be getting in patch 5.1. So moving on from that cool feature, back to the story, we head on up to our apartment at the Crystarium. Last week we mentioned that our apartment is actually a pretty important location.
Everyone keeps telling me that I need to rest, and I'm like, fuck you. Do I look tired? Like, why do you keep telling me to go take a rest? Fuck off. I get that I do a lot, but like, you could be nicer about it. Then maybe you should go take a rest. I'm like, maybe you should go wash your face. Like, come on, fuckers. Don't tell me what to do. I'm the goddamn warrior of light darkness.
For a second, I thought people in chat were telling you to take a rest or something. You're like, don't tell me to take a rest.
No.
So yeah, people think we're tired, so we need to go rest up at our apartment.
All the time.
And I have to say, I really enjoyed these scenes, but they have kind of all meshed up into my head as one scene. So when I talk about this, if I say something that's from a later on scene,
I'll try to help.
I apologize.
Also, you call this your apartment, but it's an inn room. It's not an apartment.
I mean, did they call it an inn?
It's the inn, yeah, essentially. Like, you have to talk to the person to get to your room. You've never had to talk to a person to get to your apartment.
I mean, if you have a doorman, you're like, hey, I'm going to my room.
Except that this game doesn't do that.
I'm calling it my apartment because it was bigger than an inn room. This room was much better than the shit you get at Ulda or Limsa.
I know it's about the same that you got in Doma.
Hippie Land.
Hippie Land?
Gridania.
Oh. It is a big inn, I'll agree, but you know, they made everything in the first is kind of big. Huge, like lots of space going. Yeah.
It's basically a copy of our world, you know.
But bigger.
All right, Avi. So like I was trying to say, it's a pretty important location for us. And that's because our buddy, the former warrior of darkness, Artbird, pops up in our room. And I guess at this point, he's not really our buddy yet. But
he's a freaking ghost.
We're not that freaked out to see him.
Because honestly, what haven't we seen?
And we don't try to kill him or anything like that. But we're actually the first person that's able to see him.
Right.
And the first person that's able to hear him.
And he's voiced by Gendry, or I always say it wrong.
Gendry.
I was right the first time. Gendry from Game of Thrones. That was really great.
We learned from him that
in English.
He and the rest of his party we met before on the Source are actually hated here in the first because it's believed that their actions were responsible for the flood of light. And while the rest of his group were kind of like, I don't know if they were used by Minfilia, because Minfilia kind of sacrificed herself
They
too.
helped Minfilia
But
stop
yeah,
the flood
they helped Minfilia
by sacrificing themselves.
stop the flood. But for some reason, Minfilia didn't use him.
She said, like, your role's not done. You have another part to play.
Yeah, but it wasn't like, we're leaving you behind and this is what you do.
No,
it's like
like
we're leaving you behind to walk the earth with
For-
no aim or goal.
and no one can see or talk to you for 100 years. The fact that he did not go insane.
It's kind of fucked up. I mean, you can kind of tell from his demeanor, he's kind of ready to snap. Like, he's...
Yeah. He's like, oh my God, you can hear me. Like, like you would do. I thought I really enjoyed these scenes. I really liked Artbird. I liked the personality that they gave. Because I honestly, like, I know he's a warrior of darkness, but I kind of pictured him too as like the original warrior of light, you know, in like the trailers and stuff, like the one that we always see. And I really liked seeing that given a backstory and that given a personality and a face. And like, well, I guess more, he always had a face, but that giving more depth to that character from the trailers, which in the trailers it represents us. But as you'll find out later from the story, he also represents us.
Yeah.
Our souls are, this is way future, but you find out later, like when worlds are split, which we already knew there's a split in the world, a world's souls are also split. And so we actually come from the same soul. I actually believe in that as like soulmates, like, too, kind of thing.
Even
like,
before that, like, there's no difference between Artbird and us. Like, just in the way they do things. Like, he had his goal, we had our goal. Just like in any sort of story, when there's a villain and a good guy, the villain never thinks he's the villain. Like, it could go either way.
So chat's asking, they did cause it though, and they said, was that after they tried to kill us at the end of the other? And then,
well, they were trying to save their world. How many people have we killed because we're trying to save our world?
Exactly. And then so yeah, they killed all the things, and the first was in danger of the flood. So then they killed themselves to go back to the source, and then they went to the first with Minfilia. So it was a lot of death, a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah, and I agree with you on Artbird. He's actually one of my favorite characters from the expansion.
Yeah.
This was kind of our first big interaction with him here on the first.
I'm honestly surprised more people aren't crushing on Artbird. Maybe it's the name. It's not a sexy name.
Pretty dorky name.
It's a really dorky name for a really badass character. Like, I think if I was going to crush on anyone, I think Artbird is kind of up there for me.
Nope.
He's
people
a sweetie.
like Emmett Silk and Crystal X.
Emmett Silk's like Johnny Depp. Like, you don't go there. That's too much crazy, guys. Too much crazy. He's hot, but too much crazy.
And at the same time, we now get introduced to someone we will come to know as Minfilia. The game doesn't give us her name quite yet, just question marks where the name usually is. This is kind of like the game just showing us. We're not seeing this in person, but we see her in a field looking up at the night sky for the very first time. Then she says, "He's here. I must go to him." And kind of feels like she can feel us in the world.
To me, she said, "She's here. I must go to her."
Well, at least the designers are getting that right.
I love that. And actually, like, they did voice acting where they had the voice actors record with the correct pronouns, which I thought was wonderful.
If only they could voice act the rest of the game, that'd be amazing.
So the source, back to the source. So it's also during this time that we start to get like glimpses of what's going on in the source. This is the first scene we get. It's like an Imperial Magitech facility, and Estinian is just like fucking killing people. And then also
wrecking fools.
And this is definitely Pete. I can tell. So I'm gonna read this how Pete wrote it, because I don't talk this way. Also, reckon some peeps that aren't Imperials, and then Gaius tells him to knock it off. We're not your enemy. They're both infiltrating this place They're both infiltrating this place at the same time. Estinian says that Tataru and Krau brought him into the case, and that Tataru must have been trained as a spy. And Gaius correctly assumes that
That's a fucking quote. Why are you reading that like I just made that shit up?
Gaius correctly assumes that they're hiring freelancers. Because I was messing with you more than anything else. And then attempts to wake up the sleeping scions have not worked. Estinian and Gaius were both there to gather information about the Black Rose, and it turns out this was a facility making it. This was okay.
Making the Black Rose. Pay attention.
I'm trying to read what you wrote, but Gaius warns that there are many facilities now, and the Empire is willing to use it to wipe out everyone and basically be ruler over the ashes. We do find out a little bit more about what Black Rose actually is. It is a gas that is arcane in nature. The quote is, "It was created to disrupt the aether in living beings, to bring the flow of their life energies to a standstill. Inhaling even the tiniest amount will cause all bodily functions to cease, much as a potent venom will stop a man's heart." So yeah, that's a pretty fucking great poison.
Can you imagine if all your bodily functions ceased?
Well, I think they would all like release usually and then stop. Because you
just poop yourself?
That's usually what happens when people die.
I was thinking more like I can't poop anymore.
Nope, it's the opposite, because once you release, because you can't hold it in either.
I'm okay with that then.
Shit talk on the shit podcast.
Just don't make it so I can't poop anymore.
And then, so Gaius makes an offer to Estinian, asking him to join them for their mission. Estinian responds that Varys himself confessed that the Empire was a creation of the Ascians. Gaius, of course, already knew this, and he's like, dude, I'm planning to head to Garlemald to see Varys with his own eyes. And the declaration seems to get Estinian's attention, but it cuts off there, so we kind of just assume that they're teaming up. What do you think? Would you like this?
I do like this. I like having this little side story back on the source. I like that we actually get some of this story that is voice acted, because this is normally something that we would get in a like 4.3 patch.
Can I go back? Wait, let me finish okay. So the declaration seems to get Estinian's attention and cuts off there, but then they banged.
Is that your commentary?
No, it's OG Snuggles, and then they banged.
You got to give credit where credit is
I know,
due.
it's amazing. I was like, wait, it has to end with, and they go off screen, and then they banged. Because I love that so much. Banged is probably my new favorite word for sex.
And it's adding stuff like this where I kind of double down on what apparently a lot of people had problems with me talking about it last week, that I didn't like the timey-wimey time traveling fuckery going on.
Because you're not a true nerd, you weirdo.
They didn't do it well. It's like we can tell how long we're gone if they're gonna give a story like this.
I'm not gonna debate you. You're just wrong.
No, exactly. You don't have anything to debate with.
I already did. I'm done. I'm right.
You've lost.
Oh, honey.
Back to reality. In the first, we meet up with the Crystal Exarch, Alice and her brother, who shall not be named.
His name is Alice's brother.
He informs us that Yulmore has sent an airship and has questions about the death of the Light Warden. Lena, who's the captain of the army,
she's the new Viera,
brings the Yulmoran emissary to meet with the Exarch. But before she lets him in, are you going to talk over me talking this whole time?
Yeah. I mispronounced the word.
The Exarch cast a spell on us to make us invisible.
Ooh, how did he cast a spell? What did he do?
Can
you reenact it for me?
Well, they talk. Doesn't he just tap the fucking
I was
floor?
I was just being a dick. I'm sorry. I love you.
I don't understand your jokes. They're supposed to be funny.
Sometimes it's just to get a reaction out of you. It's what you do to me. Oh, see how that feels?
No, I don't. I just cringe.
Chat says I'm funny.
Are you sure?
Being a dick is funny.
The emissary sent by Yulmore is General Ranjit, commander of the Yulmoran army. He's been the leader of the Yulmoran army since before Vathri's time, when they still fought against the Sin Eaters instead of living with them. He's been sent by Lord Vathri, though, to find out if the Crystarium had any role in the defeat of the Light Warden. While the Exarch doesn't fully commit to being responsible, he does say they rejoice in its defeat. It's a pretty tense meeting between them, and I definitely got the feeling that they had some run-ins before.
Oh yeah, you can tell these two guys have met in the past. I mean, it makes sense. They're both the leaders of two of the main cities that are still around for the past 100 years. They're definitely going to be familiar with one another.
But we definitely know that Ranjit is really old, if he's been the commander of the army for that long.
He's also really badass.
So there's a lot of mystery behind Ranjit, and I'd say one of my problems with him is we just simply didn't get enough backstory for my liking for him.
Is he your Fordola?
A little bit. He's my Fordola of this expansion.
I had a feeling, like you say that, I'm like, that's like your Fordola thing. Give me more.
I wanted to learn more about Ranjit. But before Ranjit...
Yeah, like, how do you get the dragon?
A lot of stuff we don't know.
Like, he had this really cool, like, it's future, you fight him, and he's got, like, this armor, and then there's a fucking dragon fighting with him that, like, is part of his armor, and it's really cool, and I want to be like, how did Ranjit get the armor? Or people are saying they thought it was a snake. I personally, like, a lot of the Japanese dragons are very long and skinny, snake-like, so it's an Eastern dragon. Okay, chat saying. So some people are like, snake. I viewed it as a dragon. It was really cool. I was like, I want a dragon that, like, comes out of my clothes. Oh, KK's shipping Pete and Ranjit.
Nah, I'm not in Ranjit.
What are they going to be?
Too old.
Pidgeot?
Paget?
I
don't know. So yeah, before Ranjit leaves, he says they are also searching for a young artist and his assistant and want to know if we've seen them, or if the Exarch has seen them. He says if they reveal themselves to turn them over, and says this while he's looking directly at where we are standing invisible.
Like, why you even trying to hide your shit? I see you.
Yeah, it's almost like he was able to tell something was there, and almost like he could tell it was us standing there. Like, Alpha No... Ooh, said his name. Alpha No, who was posing as the artist, and us, his assistant. Almost like he knew we were there and was just watching to see if the Exarch, what he was going to do, whether he was going to say anything about it.
So, Icarus, you just commented that you don't like Ranjit. If you'd like to call in and tell us why you don't like Ranjit, I'd like to hear. I want you to argue with Pete.
Well, I don't like him as in, like, I think he's a good character. I think he's a bad character because they didn't give us enough backstory to him. I think Fordola is a bad character, but she had, like, good qualities that I wanted to know more of, and that's the same as Ranjit.
I know, they leave you wanting more, which means you like them.
No, because they're going to do that, and then they're never fucking going to go back to it. It's bad storytelling.
All right, so Icarus has called in, Pete, to tell us why he did not like Ranjit.
Hello, Icarus. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I guess we'll get right into it. Ranjit. Oh, where do I begin?
It has to be more than just not having a backstory.
It's more than that. It's just the way they portrayed the character. It felt like they absolutely needed to, like, portray a character like Xenos, who was bigger and better than us, and they gave him no reason to be. And he just, like, he had that. Not to get too ahead, he had a fake out earlier, which was, again, like, this game has now established for me, like, if there's no body, they ain't dead.
Right.
Square
Enix doesn't like to kill characters.
Okay.
They don't.
With Xenos, even if there's a body, he's still not dead.
Right.
We didn't.
We saw the grave.
We saw his next.
We saw a grave,
and
but
we
not
saw
a body.
him buried.
Yeah, like, we saw him get buried. Like, we saw his body, like, as we watched him, like, kill himself. Like, we watched that thing happen, and then it was like, meh. But yeah, Square Enix doesn't have the balls to kill characters unless they've only been around for, like, a partial expansion.
Yeah, it's like they do it just to rip band-aids off, which is unfortunate.
But they're band-aids that they've just placed. Tesleen was honestly the first death I was actually really upset about. I wasn't really upset about Orshafant, or, like, I just wasn't. But her, I was like, but she's just trying to help these poor people, and her death was horrific. Like,
that's what I mean about deaths. Like, that's what I mean about this. They need horrific, like, visceral deaths.
They don't have to be. They don't have to be visceral and horrific, but they have to have some meaning. Or like Joss Whedon is one of my favorite writers for TV, and he said, and one of his things that my friends and I joke about is that he kills love. If he makes two characters fall in love, at some point in that show, one of those motherfuckers is gonna die. That is, he does it every single time, and it hurts, and I love it.
And you were also saying it's because she was just trying to help people. I think that's a big point, because everyone that had died previously, whether it's Orjafant, Moonbrita, Papalimo, like, they're all in some way a warrior. There's some way you knew they're in the shit, and there should always be a possibility for them to die.
Sorry. Yeah. KK, it's too soon. It's too soon. He mentioned Firefly. It's not ready for that yet. Wash. Too soon.
All right, so what do you want to add about Ranjit?
There's, like, his motivations that he did present, not saying his backstory, because I know a lot of people give him crap for not having a backstory, but just the motivations he had going forward were the same beats that I hated about Thancred.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't helping his case. And like it just showed, like every time he showed up, it was not like, oh no, it was like, oh no, this asshole again. And it was just
really
it was just like, oh good. It was just like, oh good God. Like the only good thing he did was it just like his concept was cool. I liked the Shadow Dragon.
Yeah, that's
he
what
was
I
a cool
really liked.
character.
Yeah.
But like the only part of the character that they brought to light was the fact that he was evil for evil's sake.
Do you feel like his character was there to give more development to Vothri?
No, not really.
Yeah, I don't feel like he did any of that.
Well, no, because Vothri
I feel
isn't he gets a good general. Like he understands that he can't do everything, and he gets someone to fight his fights for him, even though he could have been fighting him.
I don't even think it's that much because Vothri is just a spoiled brat who doesn't care who's
Trump.
helping
What?
him.
No, what?
I think his point was to just give us like a big bad that we have to battle. But when you don't give that big bad any sort of personality or give us any sort of backstory
he was just
to
like,
him, no one cares.
And it was really confusing. It's like how I raised you, Minfilia, like, like I'm the reason you are where you are.
And it's like, okay, you made him all powerful. Let me know why he's this all powerful.
But I mean, even that, like, the mention of the stuff with Minfilia, it's like literally just his opinion. Like, I would have loved even some backstory of why he's great, why he was the one to raise her, why all that went through.
I would have liked anything, but let me know why he's so strong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get why they were trying to. Yeah, I mean, the strong thing is its own thing. Like that was like, really, like. But putting that aside real quick, but the Minfilia thing, I see what they were trying to say. They were like he was once this sympathetic, like on the front lines, like
I didn't take it that way.
They were trying to say like with the previous iterations of Minfilia when they were still fighting the good fight, as it were, like he's the one who raised her and knew that she was supposed to be this figure to bring hope and stuff like that. But no matter what they did, she kept dying, and it was that constantly seeing her die is what broke him. But
you are giving him a lot more than we did.
I don't know if I mean
that's what they were
story.
They were trying to say that, and he just decided to like say fuck it. I'm like when Vothri came to power, he's like, oh, we don't have to fight these guys anymore. Good. Like I don't want to see that shit. I'm gonna lock her in a tower, and she's gonna be safe, and that's all I care. She's a princess. It's fine. And it was weird, and that's why I didn't like it, because it was like basically the same shit that Thancred was doing, and they're both fucking creepy, and they both need to die.
Yeah. Also, I do have to say you've got like the highest honor, because right now KK's agreeing with you. If Chili comes in and agree with you, you're just like the ultimate.
Well,
right
yeah,
now.
I know he was watching her die over and over, but or at least I can't remember the line anyways that would make it seem he was tired of that. It made
not get tired of that?
It made it seem like whatever Vothri was saying is what changed his mind. He's basically basically Vothri's bitch. Like,
I did not.
It's not even so.
No.
I didn't get that at all. I'm sorry, Pete.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's not. He's his general.
He does whatever Vothri says.
He's Vothri's general. There's a difference between being a bitch and a general.
The thing is, it's the difference between being a blind follower
mm-hmm.
of a dictator, a sort of this horrible thing, and it's like, whereas Ranjit was like, no, I believe in this whole thing wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not under his control. It's my choice.
It's not Vothri specifically that I'm bowing to. It's this idea that sin eaters are being controlled by someone effectual or ineffectual leading or not. Like, it's controlled. There's stability, and this place is doomed anyway. So fuck it. We'll just stay in this stasis for as long as we can.
It's almost worse. It's just apathetic.
Yeah. KK has the right of it. He's the Goebbels to Vothri's Hitler.
That's wonderful. That's a wonderful comparison.
Which is, I mean, when that's your characterization, it's just like you're not going to be well loved by the fans. Anyway.
No, but you can. I feel like you can appreciate a really good villain.
But even if they would have gone more into that, because like, I missed that a little bit. I knew he had seen her die over and over again. I didn't get the fact that he was so really upset about it, Because honestly, it seems just like one of those things. Oh, didn't succeed with this one. I'll try with the next one.
I didn't see it as him being upset either. I saw him viewing her as, you're mine. I raise you. I use you. You're my weapon. You're my tool. And you're choosing to leave me. Like that was, I didn't view it. I viewed it like, I guess I interpreted, as she was his thing. She was his belonging. I don't see that there was any like emotion to him other than, how dare you steal my toy? She's my toy.
Well, towards the end, it turned like that. But that was the same sort of like misplaced anger and emotion that Thancred was using.
Yeah,
Again,
that was
it's
just
like,
whiny bitchy though.
Yeah, because he was like unnecessarily angry at her at all times. It was just like, and it's because she's not the real. She's not the real.
Not his Minfilia.
Did anyone else feel like they like consciously and regularly made the characters touch her head, like to remind you that she's a child? This is not sexual. He's patting her head.
It's really awkward every time.
Every time, but it was like she's a child. We pat her head.
Yeah,
from 3
and
inches
that's
away.
why it's even more creepy when Thancred did it, because it was like,
oh, you love her. That's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. I get what they were trying to do, but at the same time, with Thancred, especially the way he looks, somehow he looks younger than he did in the source.
Because he doesn't have the facial hair; it ages you.
Yeah.
And the rat tail.
Well, his eyes are missing. He doesn't have his old body, so he has basically a unworn body.
Yeah. You want to talk about things that don't make sense, Pete? Like, the one thing I'll give you about the timey-wimey stuff is, how is it that Thancred, not having a body and has a body of basically ether on the first, has heart problems?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
There's a lot of things that don't make sense.
Yeah, you still can't control ether. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that whole thing is just like, really?
Yeah, that
really?
was there's no other way. It's just really okay. We're just gonna accept that one.
I was gonna talk about this a little bit later, but you might be more knowledgeable on this, so I'm gonna ask you. Sure. Later on, there is a rescue of Minfilia, and we're gonna talk about that.
We're pretty much there.
The way we were able to escape is because Thancred comes and does a little bit of fighting with Ranjit, but then teleports us away. Did he teleport us away? Was he able to use Aether to do that, or did he just like distract enough and then the Crystal Exarch teleported us away?
On the laptop. Don't do that.
Oh, that was the Crystal Exarch.
Okay, so
they make it overtly clear that it wasn't Thancred at all, because Thancred still, despite being a body full of Aether energy, still can't manipulate Aether.
Okay, because we didn't see the Crystal Exarch until a little bit after that happened. We didn't see him cast that spell as far as I can remember.
Yeah, you don't see it, but it's the magics that are employed are the same stuff that he employs throughout the expansion.
Because in the moment that it happened, I was like, "What the fuck? How did Thancred do that?"
It's a subtle detail that it's hard that is easy to miss on the first.
Right. I can let that one go then.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting Pete finally let something go, Icarus.
I mean, that was my suspicion that it was him, but I was like, eh.
Yeah, the way a lot of his magics work kind of fit that way. He can do things a lot more long range than what's normally possible, like with the mechanics in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he is quite a distance away, so I can understand Pete's confusion.
Of course. All right,
yeah.
Icarus, I'm going to cut you off so we can continue going through this MSQ because I am streaming with Pixie after this, and I don't want to make her wait too long.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, so after Ranjit leaves, Lena tells us that the Yomoran forces were observed taking a prisoner, a young woman believed to be none other than the Oracle of Light, Minfilia.
Ooh.
We all gasp and take a step back. Lena thinks the only reason Ranjit didn't declare war was to have time to get her back to Yulmore. And apparently Ranjit has mentored generations of Minfilias, and her capture would be his chief concern.
How did I miss that? I feel like I missed the fact that he mentored generations of Minfilias. I remember that he mentored her, but I didn't realize that he'd actually done all the Minfilias.
All of them.
No, after KK's comments and Icarus talking, I fully missed that, and I'm kind of bummed that I missed that.
And the Exarch tells us to go back to the library to talk to Morin to learn more about Minphilias. So it turns out that the Oracle of Light was able to be reborn every 15 years or so, and that child was always known as Minphilia. Minphilia would fight against Sin Eaters. They were mentored by Ranjit, and they would battle the Sin Eaters until Vathri came about. And they would just keep Minphilias kind of as prisoners after that.
Kind of control her. So the Crystal Exarch then has an idea that we should rescue Minphilia, of course, and he rallies everyone together to make sure we all help, and we're back together and we're this happy gang. Let's go kill the things. This is the Warrior of Darkness. She is currently being held in a fort in the middle of Lakeland. The actual rescue of Minphilia turns out it's a single-player instance of you rescuing her with some of your buddies, like Alice and her brother. It's kind of like the trust system a little bit. It's really immersive, which is nice. It's more than you standing in a circle to fight an enemy. But again, it has one of those where you're fighting Ranjit at the end. But it was nice that,
but at least it wasn't just that.
Yeah, and there were cutscenes involving other characters. There's actually a moment in that where there's that like probably to me was the second most powerful cutscene. Am I thinking of the right one?
You're thinking of a different one.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, you're right. I remember. He knew exactly what I was talking about. Okay, sorry guys. It's a lot. It's actually on our way out where we're stopped by Ranjit, and then Thancred shows up and saves the day because we're a fucking princess. He does some teleportation magic to get us the hell out of there.
But we now know it wasn't Thancred doing it. It was the Exarch.
Right. And then we head to Ilmeg to hide from Ranjit. The Exarch then helps us here, as well as casting some sort of binding spell on Ranjit so that he is not able to pursue us. And then it turns out that Thancred has been the guardian for Minphilia, but we're going to get further into that, which we've already kind of talked on, but there's a lot of things and stuff.
Yeah. And again, the game doesn't show us the name of the next person that is introduced, but we have seen them before. It's Solus, and even though we had speculated at the time that the name of the Ascian using his body was Emmett Selch, we didn't know that for sure, I think, until this expansion. And we now know his name in this expansion. It is indeed Emmett Selch. And he's been watching us from above, wondering how the Exarch brought us here to the first, and complaining that the events are leading his plan awry.
Ooh, rye. I like rye bread.
So we're headed to Ilmeg, which is where the old kingdom of Voidbert was.
What?
I don't know, the Voidbert was and is now the home to many Fey folk. Thancred informs us that he and Minphilia have been traveling together, and when they were traveling, she ran off and got captured. He saw that the Crystarium was on the move and met with the Exarch to make up a plan to learn our plans that we had for rescuing her. So he was part of the plan all along. We just didn't know it. People like to keep fucking secrets.
God damn you, Urian J.
This wasn't even Urian J. This is just Thancred and the Exarch.
I know, but I hear secrets and I immediately think of Urian J.
So this was all part of the plan to get us out of there if things went badly. And then to get us to Ilmeg, because
do you want me to go on this one?
There were two more objectives that the Exarch wanted completed.
Okay.
Meet up with Urian J, and to kill the Light Warden of Ilmeg. Just a little thing there at the end. Minphilia did run off because somehow she felt our presence, so that kind of confirms what we thought before, why she was out in that field on her own. She knows us as the hero of another world. Thancred's being a real dick to her for running off.
He's a fucking motherfucking asshole prick who doesn't know how to deal with his emotions, and so he's just taking him out on this poor child because she isn't the poor child that he wishes she was, which is just some creepy level of meta right there. I don't even know. Fuck you, Thancred.
As Thancred is telling her off, we start to hear some voices, Avi.
Well, yeah, it's what we do. It turns out these voices are pixies, and they have cast a spell. And we aren't able to remember the things that we should remember. Minphilia and Thancred have been to Urian J's before, but suddenly they can't remember why. Something in the air.
Not remember why. Don't remember how to get to him.
You said why. The way. Sorry. I put an H where your A was. So now's probably a good time to mention someone that we met a while ago, but we forgot to talk about last week. Feoul is a fairy that has become our tree. and we are her sapling.
I think that's what she said. I wasn't sure. It could have been branch.
She
and
calls us
sapling.
little branch.
Little branch.
Little
yeah.
branch. We're her little branch. And
She's my tree.
I love her. The voice acting for her was not what I would have expected for a pixie.
Took a little getting used to, but
Yeah.
I liked it.
I liked it eventually, but it took a while because I was like, she's like, got this like lovely like Irish drawl kind of thing, which I cannot impersonate. But then she goes from like, it's so lovely to see you. What are you doing here? Like she just kind of like is insane. And I love how her voice acting goes from like, it's amazing and sweet and happy, and then I will murder you all, which was kind of fun to watch. And I don't think I did that well, but I hope you get the idea. So, we are her sapling, and then we can summon her whenever we need her, even though, if you're like Pete, you tend to forget about her.
You didn't fucking remember to summon her any other time.
You, every time you go to the summoning bell, she's the one who helps you contact your retainers.
I didn't go to the summoning bell in the Crystarium.
I did. She's wonderful. That was how they made logical sense of you being able to access your retainers from there, was through Feaul. That's something you would have liked, Pete.
No, I was just like, all right, I'll buy this bullshit.
That's not bullshit. That's freaking fantasy. Ugh. So then we do some quests for Thancred, and that makes him a freaking tool even more than he already was. In order to make the pixies appear so we can actually see them.
That's not how I wrote that.
I don't
at
understand
all.
what you're saying
We
there.
did quests for them to make him a tool to be able to uncover the pixies.
So Thancred is the tool?
We made a tool and Thancred used it.
That is not what you wrote.
Yes, it is.
He wrote, we do some quests for Thancred that makes him a tool.
That makes him a tool to use.
That makes a tool. You said you makes him
Just
a tool.
read the fucking thing.
So I wasn't reading it because that makes him a tool. Why is he a tool?
God damn.
When pixies being pixies, all they want to do is play with us like they're little kids. All they want to do is mess around. We ask them to remove the spell on us, but of course, they just won't lift it. We need to do some quests for them and help them out. There are a lot of fetch quests and kind of silly quests. But one element that really stands out is that while you're there, there's these little like topiaries that look kind of like alive beings, but they're still topiaries. They're kind of creepy. But they're actually people who stayed there too long and basically fell victim to the pixies' wily ways. And I love that because I feel like pixies are one of those fantasy characters that are always, there always needs to be like a dark element to them. They're like fun, fantastical, and cute and shiny and creepy as fuck.
Well, I think one of the theories that they said in this, I don't think it was like fact, but I think it was Minfilia saying that she had heard fairy tale or whatever, that they were actually like the spirits of children that had died or something like that.
They're children, yeah, which makes sense for pixies because they always have that very childlike, never grew up. Everything's about, am I having fun? So then we head off to Urion J's house, and once you're able to,
you forgot to talk about, we do many quests for these pixies before realizing that we should have summoned our friend that you just talked about, Feaul, to help us out with these other pixies.
Because we're dumb.
And she is quite upset with us. For
You little bitch, why are you talking to them and not talking to me?
She was legit
She got her
angry.
like hoarse, angry voice I tried to do that I was not able to replicate at all.
Not only was she just like loud and angry or something like that, because when someone just yells at you, you're like, what the fuck ever, shut up. When she talks to you, though, you feel bad.
I need to learn to talk like her.
And you felt bad for not summoning her.
I need to
You're not
study her.
capable of
I
it.
need to study her.
She lets the other pixies know that we are hers and our friends are
You don't
hers.
touch my motherfucking sapling.
You're not allowed to mess with us. And she really puts a damper on the pixies' fun. The pixies finally agree to lifting the spell and revealing the world so we can get to Urion J. Only as long as we leave the twins there to play with them.
I actually love that. They're like, they look the same. We want to play with them. Like, I love that they asked for Alice and her brother. Did I say that correctly, Pete?
Yep.
All right. So now
we're able to.
We head off to Urion J's house. And once you're able to decipher the way he talks, he's happy to see us. You know, by the way, guys, for anyone Pete and I both streamed some of the MSQ where we'd read out the non-voice acted portions, and Urion J's a bitch.
Fuck him.
So, like, I think if you're a streamer and you're actually forced to read his text out loud, You can't like him. You just can't like him. It's just hard.
Occasionally, I would just paraphrase. I'd read like 6 lines of text and just be like, "Oh, he wants us to go over there."
And if you want to have if you want to turn Final Fantasy 14 into a drinking game, my suggestion is you take a shot every time Urion J says must needs.
Or if you just want to die.
Or that. So then he tells us of a vision that he had of the 8th Umbral Calamity. He saw Eorzean forces push back the Garleans until they had to resort to using Black Rose and wiped out the cities in Eorzea as well as Garlemald. With all of these deaths and destruction, civilization began to unravel and it became tribal, and the strongest took over. We see a vision he had of the dead Tataru, Kryl, Thancred, Y'shtola, and the last bodies that we see are the twins and then us. He called it an endless age of war.
Got excited when I saw the twins die. Not gonna lie.
Gotten by the blight of Black Rose. Such is the legacy of the 8th Umbral Calamity, which I did behold. Bitch, you saw that shit. He goes on to say he's learned of Black Rose's great potency. Showing us an elemental chart? What do you mean that?
He showed us an elemental chart.
Oh. So Urion
That's what I meant by that.
He says, showing us an elemental chart. What? Urion J showed us an elemental chart. The people of the first don't use astral and umbral. Instead, they use darkness and light. Light aligns with passivity, and darkness aligns with activity and growth. He drops the bomb that the phenomenon of etheric thinning observed in the source is the consequence of light, the power of stasis, flowing in from the first to stifle the movement of aether within the land.
So that's why we were running out of aether on the source, I mean.
Knowing all this doesn't really change our objective, we still need to find and kill a Light Warden. Urion J believes that it's Ligia, a castle in the middle of a lake in the zone. We're going to need Pixie's help for this, though, and in order to gain access to the castle, we are going to need a relic from each of the 4 Fae groups in the areas: Pixies, Numau, Amaru, and Foth. The Pixies have a dress, the shell crown is with the Foth, the stone scepter is with the Numau, and the crystal shoes are with the Amaru. The Pixies give us the dress because we've already done a lot for them. They're like, all right, fucking just take it. Go away. You're not fun anymore.
They're like, you're probably going to die, but whatever.
You know, just take the dress.
Give it a shot.
We're not doing anything with it. It's cool. It's not fun for us. The last thing Urion J gives us is some white auracite to use if we happen to come across any Ascians, which is obviously foreshadowing.
And we already had foreshadowing that we're going to have Ascians.
Double foreshadowing.
Something of interest happens at Urion J's as well for Thancred. He asks Minfilia to imbue something for him. Turns out he can't use Aether anymore, as we kind of talked about a little bit earlier, and needs Minfilia to imbue the cartridges for his gunblade. And tagging off this, Thancred tells a story of when the Oracle of Light, or Minfilia, talked to him through the old Minfilia, talked to him through this new Minfilia. She described herself as basically an Ascian using this body as a vessel, but she has decided that she's done with that. She's going to let the new Minfilia make her own choices, and that if she chooses to fight the good fight, she's going to use the power she reserves for rebirth to imbue this new Minfilia with all of her powers, and the Oracle or old Minfilia would be gone. After she stops talking, the new Minfilia has no recollection of what happened. That's kind of the last vision, even though it wasn't really her, Thancred has of her.
I do actually interpret this, though, like, old Minfilia, OG Minfilia is not gone. OG Minfilia is gone from that body. OG Minfilia is still around. She's up in Hydaelyn. She is the, Oracle of Light. I don't feel like her soul has gone anywhere. She's just done inhabiting and stealing these children's lives, essentially. So you want me to continue this?
All
right.
We get to that later.
So now we're off to see the Foth to try to get their relic and let them know that we want to kill a Light Warden. They're actually more willing to give it to us, but since they rarely ever see mortals, they're like super excited. They're like, please, won't you stay and play with us? And by spending time, they mean coming to their world, which presents for us presents. It presents itself as a dungeon called Don Meg.
I can't read.
I can't read.
Don Meg reminds me of a giant mini golf course.
I can't disagree with you on that.
I was like, oh, I Like I feel like a giant should be like above me and about to hit
There
me.
needs to be like a windmill somewhere.
hit me down this track
Yeah.
or this hole.
But it's so pretty. It's like I felt like that was the dungeon where I finally got to be like the other one was like death and bodies and grossness and ooh, and here I'm like shiny, pretty pink flowers.
So it's definitely more fun. Still shit trying to kill you, but
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, I gotta screenshot all of this. This was the first dungeon I did with the trusts.
I will. It was actually the first one I did as a trust as well. Because by the time I got to this, it was really late at night. I checked the queue. I was DPS at the time. Long ass queue. I said, screw it. I'm just gonna do a trust, and it went pretty well.
It did. It went really well. It was a lot of fun. I felt like this dungeon. Like Pete was like, I didn't like this dungeon. There wasn't much going on.
It wasn't that I didn't even like it. It's just like
nothinged it.
It's a leveling up dungeon. You do it once, maybe twice, and then you probably never do it again unless you're leveling another job, and then you do it 2 more times.
I had fun in the dungeon because I was like, ooh, look at that. Ooh, look at that. Oh, that's so pretty. Look at that. Like, that's honestly, like, I don't really remember a lot of the fights, sadly. I remember, like, the whimsy of it. It was like, it was a miniature golf course in Wonderland. Like, Alice in Wonderland. And it was just wonderful. Oh, so in the final boss, there is a bridge mechanic that, like, you have to really, like, compete falls often when I saw
I only fell the first time.
Often.
Never fallen since.
And KK's saying that watch Ninphilia, which people are calling the Miniphilia, who fights with you across the bridge.
Well, she's a ninja.
She's right. I called her Miniphilia. I like that one. She doesn't make it across. There actually is a wonderful video of someone on YouTube who like sprints across the whole thing, and I'm like, fuck you, you're amazing. But yeah, it's a pretty cool mechanic. There's some new elements added. I enjoyed this dungeon. Pete did not.
Yeah, I just kind of nothing it. The actual dungeon itself, I didn't like that much. The story leading up to it and the story that we got after it, I really liked.
So we're about to get the relic, but at the end, the Fwath decide that we were so much fun that they're just going to keep us, like us is in the Warrior of Light, singular. And they're going to make us one of them, and they have their own one of us scenes, and they hit us with a giant wave, which I'm not sure how is going to turn us into one of... You don't really know how... They were trying to kill us. Because everyone who dies in that water becomes one of them.
Oh.
See, that was me reading.
They're kind of dicks.
But they didn't realize that we have the ability to breathe underwater. So while they're trying to kill us so that we are forced to become one of them as someone who drowned in that lake, we go, I can breathe. How did
everyone else not drown then?
They weren't targeting them. They didn't want them. They only wanted us. We were the only ones they were trying to drown.
It's a very particular wave, I suppose.
Well, I mean, if you can control water, then yes.
Especially since what's-his-nuts can't even swim.
I know. It's not a lie. All right. So you wrote...
Well, you told me to cut it off here. So I cut it off here.
Keep talking about it. You get someone at the door.
We do have a couple more people in this zone. We have the new Mo to get to and the Amaro to get to. But that's going to have to wait until next week. And of course... those are going to lead up to the first trial, Titania. So if you guys have been holding out on listening, you just have to be to that point, and then you should be good for next week. So now it's time for the community roundup, partner.
We're almost done.
And so, of course, this is open to you, the community, if you would like to call in and talk about something that you have been liking for Final Fantasy XIV. If you have any creators or you have something going on yourself, take a chance. Call us up. We want to know what you have going on. But in case no one calls up, I have one of my own. This one is from Bok Choy, who is a Savage Raider and streamer. I'm sure many of you have heard of him before, but he has made a blog post called Take the Savage Plunge, a primer for starting endgame content. And it's been around for a while, but he has updated it for patch 5.05. And he goes into a lot of detail about getting over some like mental barriers that you might have for Savage and finding a group. And it's really comprehensive, and it's really good and entertaining. So I think you all will enjoy it a lot. And it looks like we have KK McLeod on deck. How are you doing tonight, KK? And what do you have for the community roundup today?
I'm doing quite well. I'm going through some tank role quests real quick, and I don't want to keep you guys very long, so just have a quick shout out for my community roundup. This one goes out to Huntin' for Games. It's Huntin' with no G for the number and games. He just hit 10K subs or followers on YouTube, and he does a lot of Final Fantasy 11 content. He really loves 11. He plays 14 too. He loves MMOs in general.
That's
So I
awesome.
just wanted to shout. Yeah, I wanted to shout him out a lot. He says he's going to be doing a bunch of stuff for the month of August. Like if you have stories of 11, you could send it into him, and he might read out your stories and everything like that. And he's got a good personality. And if you just want to like maybe get an idea of what 11 was like, just watch some of his videos. He has a good personality. He enjoys 11, and he even plays on like classic servers, classic private servers, and he's going through the whole shebang like the old OG way of leveling through
Damn.
that.
Painful. Yeah.
But he loves it.
No, that's
He
great.
absolutely loves it.
That's one. It's better when you can watch someone who really enjoys the painfulness of it.
Right. Well, thank you so much for that, KK, and definitely everyone check out Huntin' for Games.
I typed the name in chat, and Pete can if he remembers, put it in the show notes. Thank you so much, KK. I really love that you're sharing somebody who's still playing 11. I think that's wonderful.
Yep. No problem. Have a good night.
You too, sweetheart.
All right, and it looks like that was everyone that was on deck for the community roundup. We'll move on to some listener reaction. We have Ace Kaneki who says, I want to try Savage rating one day, but I'm so afraid. Don't think I'm good enough, and some people are truly dicks. Well, those are few and far between, Ace. You should read that thing I just talked about from Bok Choy. I think you will really enjoy it and get you primed for some Savage.
At Sayo_FF says, at Shields I Tank, listening to episode 179, which was last week, and had to comment about the time fluctuation thing. I had totally forgotten that actual line, but the concept of it doesn't bother me at all. Just my few gills. Ha, Pete.
Alicia says, energy drain is back, Avi. Lots of people definitely shouting out Avi.
Oni's Arcade, Avi, She Heals I Tank, Scholar, Energy Drain. I loved it. Like, our Discord is like, I seriously had like 5 tags of people going like, Energy Drain, Avi, Energy Drain. I was like, because I'm right. It needed it. Ha. And then at Mars Blood tweets, one of the many great hashtag FFXIV Shadowbringers, hashtag FF14, hashtag FFXIV podcasts out there. Give them a listen or not. Up to you, but you're missing out.
Broly. Oh, I read Broly and the tweet of the week.
Oh, you did. And finally, at Edge Odinblast tweets, friend thought the audio in the title screen of Shadowbringers sounds like whores, mighty whores. I can't unhear this. It also makes me think of the soundbite that She Heals I Tank uses for the comedic value and an adequate whore. At Avi Ale, cue the cricket sounds.
Oh.
You're so slow. That would have been perfect if you were like on it. All right, guys, so we're about to go into our outro. Pete does have his sisters in
You
town.
don't have to say we're about to go into the outro.
The reason
Just
I'm
do
going
the
to,
outro.
because I'm saying that is because I wanted to remind you that I'm doing the Greenleaf Gaming stream. There was a reason for my method,
You
Pete.
just say it. You don't say
No,
just
because I'm
say
not
outro.
going into it yet. Hyperpixie has finally unlocked Heaven's Ward. She's actually streaming that right now, Hyperpixie Gaming, and we are going to play some 14 together, and she actually really wants to level Dragoon. So she hasn't even unlocked Dragoon, or Lancer, I guess, and so it's going to be a lot of fun, kind of silly. I've had a few drinks, and I'm going to continue, and I know she's a bit loopy too. So that is going to be it for this episode. As always, we've enjoyed hanging out with all of you live here on Twitch. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Be sure to hit that follow button so you'll know the next time we will be going live. And a great big thank you to everyone listening to the podcast through iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, FaceApp, TikTok, my toe, and the bottle of beer over here. You are the reason we keep making episodes. And remember, wherever you do listen, it would mean a whole shit ton to us if you gave our little shit podcast a rating or review. Honestly, it's been a while since we got a rating. I think we're kind of due. Come on, tell us how much you hate us. But more importantly, tell your friend to check us out.
They do. And I always say, if you're funny, I'll read it, but they're never funny.
Here with Vegan Pete, I'm Avi Ale, and we will talk to you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.